All right, and we're live. Welcome, everybody. Just going to give it a few minutes for everybody to jump on. So today is a stock market review for Wednesday, February 17th, and we're going to be discussing Tilray earnings. So just bear with me here while we get started. Just give it a few more minutes here. All right, looks like we got some people joining, so welcome everybody. We're going to get started here in just a few moments, so bear with me. And while we're waiting to get started, if you know anybody who wants to tune in to the live stream, send them the link. And we'll get as many people in here for a great discussion on Tilray earnings. So we're going to get started here in about 30 seconds. All right, so we got quite a few people here now. So we will jump right into it. Hello. All right, so jumping right into today's content, it's Rod with Power Group. Welcome back on the Pursuit of Wealth. Today is Wednesday, February 17th. And in today's video, we're going to be discussing Tilray earnings, and they reported Q4 2020 earnings, and they came in at a revenue beat, and overall looks pretty positive. Stock is very, very bullish after hours, reacting very well. So there's the news, and the reaction was good. So we'll look at the chart here in just a moment, and we'll look at these financials. But before we jump into today's content, make sure to smash like and subscribe to the channel. And just as a reminder, I have a broken hand, so just bear with me as we power through this. And in today's video, we're going to do a daily market recap and MJ video all in one, as this video may be a little bit longer today. So I'll put some timestamps in the description below as well. So Tilray Inc. reports 2020 full fiscal year and fourth quarter results. So for the year, revenue increased 26% to $210.5 million in 2020 compared to prior year. Net loss $3.0 million, so $3 million in Q4 2020 that just passed, versus net loss of $219 million in Q4 2019. So huge improvement there, and only a $3 million loss. That was the number one thing I was looking out for, was if they were going to report a big loss, and only $3 million, that's just pennies, nothing to worry about. Achieved adjusted EBITDA goal with $2.2 million in Q4 2020. Combination with Aphria Inc. expected to close in Q2 2021 to create the world's largest cannabis company on pro forma revenue. So $189.7 million cash they had on hand at December 31st, 2020. They now have $261.3 million in cash as of February 16th, so yesterday. So huge increase there of about $70 million in cash. A global pioneer in cannabis research, cultivation, blah, blah, blah. So they go on to talk about a little fluff and some global situations at hand, regulatory uncertainty. So let's look at this. So total revenue increased to $56.6 million, up 20.5% compared to the fourth quarter of 2019. And just looking at, we were expecting $55.98 million. So just a slight beat, not a huge beat. And we'll take a look at the stock here after hours. So huge move after hours, currently up over 10%. Yeah, up almost 20% here after hours. So congrats to those who are bullish and who swung overnight. Let me know in the comments if you swung Tilray. But we'll circle back here. So I don't know if it mentioned anything on EPS. Usually that's a little bit delayed, but we were expecting negative 0.141. So if anybody has the EPS numbers, I'm a little tied up. That'd be great. You could post it in the chat for everybody to see. So cannabis segment revenue increased 46% to 41.2 million USD, mainly driven by acceleration of international medical sales and Canadian adult use sales plus 49%, and medical sales internationally grew to 191%. Canadian medical sales grew 26%, and there were no bulk sales to other licensed producers. Hemp segment revenue decreased 18% to 15.3 million, primarily due to a shift in private label product. So no real red flags there. Total revenue increased 10% compared to the third quarter of 2020. And let's just take a quick peek at APHA, since they are essentially sisters, brothers, however you want to look at it. So not seeing as much of a bounce, but certainly, and in our group today, we were talking about the discounts available on different sales and mergers and acquisitions. So we had a conversation going about AYR, we had a conversation going about Hexo and Zenabis and how there's discounts right now. We talked about Tilray and Afria, and we talked about the acreage and canopy deal. So if you're interested in seeing some of those and having a discussion with our group, consider checking us out at pursuitofwealthgroup.com for a 1-week free trial, no credit card required. But there is definitely some sales on right now in terms of those ratios on those companies. And shout out to Patrick in our group who went out of his way and showed everybody how to go about that. So you just take the current share price, divide it by the ratio, and that will give you the price of the share. So you take the current share price divided by the ratio, and that gives you the share price, and you can compare that versus the current share price of, say, Hexo, and then it'll give you the difference in between the two will be your percentage discount. So that's pretty much it for right now. Again, I'm going to let you guys read this in its entirety, but for the most part, everything's looking good. The loss was only 3 million. I'd like to see EPS just tied up at the moment. So if somebody comes across that, if you can post that in the chat, that would be greatly appreciated. But revenue comes in with a beat, EBITDA improving, and net loss of only 3 million versus 219. That is considered a huge beat in my opinion. Even though we didn't really beat by a whole lot on revenue, it's still a beat nonetheless. So we'll run through a few other market moving headlines and news on the day today before we look at the overall broader market and some charting on Tilray and what we can expect tomorrow in the Canadian cannabis space and the cannabis space as a whole. So the Fed officials see economy far from where it needs to be, meaning easy policy won't change soon. So we had the FOMC meeting minutes today, and basically to sum it up, there was no shift. The market got a bump today. We were selling off into the beginning of the day, and then it got a nice bull pump there after the FOMC minutes alluded to no change in monetary policy or any interest rates. So stock market news, stocks fall even after retail surge past expectations. So retail sales beat estimates, but we were still pulling back, likely due to the FOMC as well. And just we saw overall tech weakness today. Apple notably weak. And we also saw Indian retailer group calls for ban on Amazon in the country after Reuters report. So you can check that out, but seeing some FUD circulating there on Amazon. Apple stock breaks below the post-crisis uptrend line after largest shareholders disclose share sales. So Warren Buffett, Berkshire Hathaway trims its stakes. We know that the CEO sold some as well. We know that Jeff Bezos sold, I think it was like $5 billion or $1 billion worth of Amazon shares. So we're seeing more and more people start to unload, and I'll bring up the Apple chart here in a little bit, but we're seeing a significant bearish shift in Apple weekly chart, and Tesla's even seeing some of that weakness. Shopify drops after warning revenue growth will slow in 2021. So Shopify fell 6.5% to US 1377.86. revenue in the fourth quarter was 970 million, soaring past analyst expectations of 910. So huge beat there, but again, guidance was why Shopify was down today. BlackRock says the largest asset manager in the world, said to have started dabbling in Bitcoin. So considering Bitcoin at this point. So that would be huge if BlackRock got into the space. And we also saw Verano Holdings begins trading on the Canadian Security Exchange under ticker VRNO today. Let me know in the comments if you took a position in Verano or if you're eyeing a position. So that's pretty much all we had in terms of news today. Bitcoin hit a new all-time high. Riot was absolutely in. If you don't know what Riot is, just give that a Google. I bought $2 calls in March when it was at 50 cents. And today it hit, I think, $75. Hive was up huge today as well. Yeah, Riot, $78. That's 150x. So if you put $1,000 into Riot blockchain stock in March, you'd now have $150,000 less than a year later. What do you mean Bitcoin? Forget Bitcoin gains. Get those Riot gains. So moving on. So Bitcoin all-time high. We have a new all-time high here at 52,625-ish. And we are consolidating on the 15-minute. Ethereum breaking to new highs. Not all-time highs, but they are in sight. So Hive closed the day today up 24% at 596. And if you recall, I did a video on Hive last week. And the topic of that video was, are we going to all-time highs? How far are we from all-time highs? Who would have knew it was going to be this week? If only the title of the video suggested it. So about 10% away, 11% away from all-time highs. I know a lot of people in our group made a ton of money off this trade and weekly bull flag. So shout out to everybody who is on the gain train there. But huge day, two massive gaps in the chart, increasing bull volume. Today was a little less than yesterday, but still massive volume. We have earnings coming up on March 2nd. So check out that video I did on Hive blockchain as well if you want to learn a little bit more about Hive. But no major red flags. We are in 15-minute uptrends on all major coins. I'm still holding some XRP and some XLM. I took some profit on Ethereum and Bitcoin and just basically playing Hive at the moment, as I do think that the majority of the gains, Hive was a nice laggard. We were watching DMGI today as well, and that one got away from me. I was hoping for a potential weak morning, but we didn't see that at all. We saw increasing bull volume. I know a couple people in our group are in on this trade as well, so congrats to those people. You've absolutely nailed it here on these EMA entries on that daily, or on the daily consolidation and the hold of EMA 26. And like I said, another nice laggard play when you're seeing Riot and Hive. DMGI had a nice weekly inside bar that broke bull, and we held that as well here after breaking bull. Got a little bit of a fake out, finished with a hammer, and here we go over 243. We are all-time highs on DMGI, and we could be heading to the same thing on Hive. So we'll look at the overall broader market. We'll go through this a little faster today. So SPY consolidated on the daily time frame. So we broke the low of yesterday and ultimately held EMA 12, and QQQ a little bit weaker, lost EMA 12, and daily consolidation underway as well. We had support here at 329.50, and on SPY we had support at 387.50. So the low of the day today, 389.33 and 387.50 on the daily support's going to be crucial. We also have EMA 12 there as well. But to be confident that this daily higher low is set, we need to change the hourly trend. And we haven't had a clear hourly trend change yet. This bounce is all coming off the lows. So bulls have tons of room, though, to form an hourly higher low compared to 389.33. And same with QQQ. QQQ has a gap in the chart, so we could be heading to fill that gap. And like I said, all this move coming off the lows, so we'll want to see an hourly trend change. higher low, and then a higher high. And that will give us confidence that the daily consolidation is underway. But burden of proof is on the bears right now. We're still in a daily uptrend, no major red flags. As long as we hold the daily uptrend and hold 329.50 on QQQ and then on SPY, as long as we hold those daily higher lows, bulls remain in full control. So just keep an eye on those daily levels and the hourly uptrends. The dollar saw a nice higher open here on this new daily candle, and we bounced down off EMA 26. We saved an EMA 12 and 26 bear cross, and bulls are liking, we're just going to anticipate a daily lower high here compared to 91.60 based on the size of that pullback. And bulls are trying to change the daily trend. We need to change the daily trend. Actually, we're still in a daily uptrend. Well, we did have a lower high here and a lower low. So I guess you could technically say we were in a downtrend. So we need to get back into a daily uptrend, set a daily higher low and higher high. That will increase the odds that we could see weekly trend changes. So we have support at 89.20, resistance up here at 91.60. Looking to form a higher low here on the weekly compared to 89.20. So if we break above 91.60 from here and not losing these higher lows, then that will confirm a weekly uptrend, and that'll be the first time we've been in a weekly uptrend since over the 100 mark on the dollar index. And the weekly chart is looking ready to go. We're over the 10-week moving average. The MACD and the stochastic are starting to trend higher, and this is, if we end the week over 91, that's extremely bullish on the dollar. And if we change this weekly trend here into the end of the week, that's going to be extremely, extremely notable. So just taking a quick check-in at some other sectors. IWM was down almost 1% today. We had SMH semiconductors down almost 2%. So semiconductor ETF has been notably, and sector has been notably weak. TAN, solar sector down over 2.3%. US oil up over 2.5%. So XLE and oil saving the market today. And we saw some weakness in tech, but like I said, everything kind of moving over to just money moving around, moving into different sectors and keeping SPY afloat. But US oil, this winter storm that we're having in the United States, obviously impacting the price of oil. We had a daily bull flag that confirmed following through. And again, I've been highlighting this for a while, but just drawing this back out to this resistance line to all-time highs, we are getting over this resistance line. So just be cautious. We could see an EMA 12 and 26 bull cross on oil as well, but just be cautious of that resistance line that has been acting as resistance since all-time highs. So taking a look at gold and silver. So silver was up over 0.5%, gold down 1%. So again, notably weak in comparison to silver. And we broke to a new lower low today. What was the low of the day today? 1769. So we held 1764 support, and silver didn't even consolidate today. We're an inside bar. So silver definitely standing out as the stronger commodity of the two. So XBI biotech sector up over 0.3%. Home builder ETF was essentially flat. XLE up about 1.5%. XLF up 0.5%. Healthcare sector up 0.36%. So again, to see huge and massive weakness in SPY, we need to see weakness in all of our sectors. So again, because XLE was up 1.5% today, we had some other sectors that were up. We had semiconductors down, tech sector was down, but again, just a game of musical chairs where money rotates, and we know SPY is not going to see significant consolidation unless we see all of those sectors pulling back. So that's pretty much all in terms of the overall broader market. The earning is already out, Teddy. So I did that as the first part of the video. They crushed, well, they didn't crush. They certainly, a lot of people were probably expecting a big loss. So they had a net loss of 3 million versus 219 million a year ago. So that is a huge improvement and basically a win in my books. And they came in, the revenue was at 56.6 million. We were expecting 55.98 million, so beat on revenue estimates. So overall consensus is good. We're up after hours. It was up about 20%, pulling back a little bit here now. So we'll jump into that here in just a minute. The cannabis sector, I do want to go over some names, individual names. Again, I'm doing this video, daily market recap, all in one. Normally I separate the cannabis videos, but just wanted to get on as quickly as possible and have a discussion with all of you guys and a conversation around these earnings. So before we look at the cannabis sector charting, we will look at some individual names. So I had a day trade today on BlackBerry. Just want to share that trade with you guys today. So out of the gate, we were extremely weak. I entered on a inside bar bull break here, and when we didn't get follow through on that inside bar bull break, that's when I exited. And then today we saw daily consolidation along with SPY, so very correlated to SPY. We had support at 1108, and I was looking for a flush of $11. We didn't get it, and we got to hourly oversold. Generally a good entry off, coming off a huge bull move. And then we had, just taking a look here, so we were pulling back and we had support at 1108. So I entered, we had support at 1125, which was the low of the day. So I entered at 1124 looking for a potential double bottom. And I didn't sell here on this bounce. And in hindsight, I likely should have, but it wasn't a huge position. And then when we dipped down below 1108, I doubled down on that position. So I had an entry at around 1125, an entry around 1105. That dropped my cost basis down to about 11, just over 1110, so 1115 or so. And then on this bounce, I scaled out on one order at 1120, and then another one around 1130, and made about $1,000 profit on that trade. So nice trade to be had there today. And we did have a double bottom as well on that 1102, which we were watching. So it bounced from 1102 to 1120, double bottom. And then from there, we just followed SPY. So very correlated to SPY. And no signs of any daily bounce yet at this point. We need to change the hourly trend. We need to confirm an hourly uptrend, and we need to break the high of the previous daily candle, which we've yet to do so. So Apple, very weak. Could see an EMA 12 and 26 bear cross, and indecision candle. We had increasing sell volume here. Looks like we could be heading to daily oversold, and we confirmed a daily downtrend here. High, low, and then we had a low, high, higher, low. So we're essentially just in this range, but we had this lower high, and then we broke 130.21. So you could technically consider this a daily downtrend now with a lower high and lower low. So we're seeing a significant momentum shift, and I do want to just bring up this weekly chart for you folks to see. If we close the week under 132 on Apple, that's going to be, and you might be wondering why I'm signaling that out, is because Apple is the biggest company, one of the biggest companies in the world, and is very, very heavily weighted in SPY and the overall market, and tech has led this move on the way up. So if we don't close above 132, I'd be extremely worried here. We're crossing bearish on the MACD and the stochastic. So we're seeing some significant weakness in Apple. Same deal pretty much on the Tesla chart. I won't go in that in detail, but you can take a look at it on your own time. But the weekly charts are pretty much all the same indicators as Apple. And we did have a lower high here into a lower low. Tesla's in a daily downtrend as well. And we could see potential EMA 12 and 26 bear crosses. And with the strength in the dollar, and the dollar potentially setting up a weekly trend change, and the stochastic and the MACD on the dollar is absolutely blasting off on the weekly. We had bullish crosses, exact opposite happening on Tesla and Apple right now. So we could see some significant sell-off here. Again, not calling any tops, but just be on the lookout. So on the bear list, we had VEGA, BB, GME, Dash, DDD. So DDD consolidating down almost 6% after gaining above $50. And Colin, yeah, we already did earnings. I went over them twice so far. We're already about 24 minutes into this video, so you might be able to just rewind it. I covered that at the first, and I covered it again, but I'll cover it here in just a second. I'm moving on to the cannabis space here in about 2 minutes. So Riot again leading the bull list. KHC seeing almost a 5% move today. NGA had a nice support play. I know a lot of people in our group are interested in this one as well, but we had support at 22.59. We got down to 22.65 and essentially a double bottom. Nice entry there. Need to break the high of today, tomorrow, to be confident that the daily bounce is underway, and need to get over those EMA 12 and 26. So that's where we stand in terms of the overall broader market and individual tickers. So again, we'll go over the cannabis space. So Tilray pulling back now after being up almost 20%. If you haven't put two and two together, it was obviously a bullish reaction. So they did beat estimates. And like I said, we were up from the close up almost 20%. So that wasn't from the close. Close was at 31. So we're up about 15% from the close. But from the low of the day, we're up about 20%. And we are consolidating here after hours. So we'll see how we open in the pre-market and during regular trading hours. But just to recap, they did beat on revenue. So they came in at 56.6 million US, and we were forecasting 55.98. So there was a beat there. And we're still waiting on the EPS numbers. And they only had a $3 million loss compared to $219 million loss in Q4 last year. So huge improvement there, improvement in EBITDA. And mentioned the combination of a free deal expected to close in Q2 2021. So there you go, Colin. There you have it. They beat estimates. And let's just take a look at the weekly chart. So it is a weekly inside bar. And moving averages, not down, the 10-week moving average down at around $18, so a long ways away. Let's take a look at the weeklies. So we do have the 20 weekly moving average at 2047, which didn't come into play, so we're still extremely strong. On the daily, we're still well above the 5100 and the 200 moving averages after this golden cross. So we're extremely bullish on Tilray. So another question here, what do you think Tilray will hit next week? Great question. If only I had a crystal ball. Well, at this point, we're looking at a daily inside bar, and we're going to break that daily inside bar bullish tomorrow. And then we have a little mini resistance level here at 36.35. So we could be heading to 36.35 resistance. If we break above that, we've got a lack of resistance all the way up here to $67, which is the relative high. So tomorrow, it's still a potential daily bear flag at this point, but just I don't think that's going to play out tomorrow based on these earnings reactions. SPY is obviously going to play a huge factor as well. So if we don't change hourly trends, if we don't break the high of today, tomorrow, and if we don't get those daily bounces underway, and we continue daily consolidation on SPY, that's only going to provide headwinds to the cannabis sector. So we'll be watching that daily inside bar. It's currently breaking here after hours, and we'll be watching this resistance up at 36.35. But after that, like I said, lack of resistance. And on the hourly, nothing. So we've got lack of resistance and set up very well if SPY. So $40 psychological. I can see us going to $40. But again, it's really going to depend on SPY as well. We want to see tailwinds and SPY starting its daily bounce, and we'll hopefully have both sectors and the overall broader market with the wind at our back there. So let's take a look at APHA again, since they are one and the same now. So essentially the same thing, huge bull move, and now consolidating on the 5-minute, looking to form a 5-minute higher low off EMA 12 here in the after hours. So we'll just go over some names here on the bull and bear list. So SNDL, they're raising about $1 billion. Everybody in our group and everybody online, on YouTube and just everybody at social media was super bullish on SNDL, and I said I really didn't like them. If you didn't get them close to $1, then I would have said move on. And then they raised some concerns on a $100 billion raise. So company's only 2 years old. They've got a lot of proving to do. It's hard to lump them in the same category as OGI and Tilray and Canopy when they just don't have the track record. And we know that they're not sound financially. So when the stock runs from 50 cents to almost $4 and runs 650%, you better believe they're going to take advantage of that high share price and use dilution and raise funds. So I said I liked it under $2. If you were extremely bullish, I said I'd wait till at least under $2. And here we are, closed at 172. Daily consolidation underway. We broke the inside bar bearish and looking to form a base of support here off EMA 12, but bouncing up over 5% here, obviously, with the rest of the Canadian sector. And I called that out. I said, I think we're heading under $2. And sure enough, didn't take long. So OGI down over 10%. Let's take a look at OGI on the daily. So inside bar that broke bearish as well. So on the bull list, we had Labs. Not very many. Labs and PCLO. Had some questions about whether or not Labs was starting to move again. And not necessarily. We did lose the EMAs. We were just bouncing on the daily like the rest of MJ. So just a little bit of a laggard play there. But they are an extraction play. So definitely just overall correlated to the overall market and seeing a nice bounce there. MSOS, again, continues to be very correlated to SPY. So again, SPY started daily consolidation today, and MSOS started daily consolidation today. So USMJ is very correlated to SPY. So if you're trading USMJ, you need to be looking at SPY. And on the bear list, we had KBEV, MMEN, MJNA. Ian on the bull list, we had BioHarvest, GWPH. Sure why SPY's on there. So not a whole lot of green overall. A lot of red out there today in the overall cannabis sector. And bam, closed the day at 106. So daily inside bar. I'm still in a position. I took a position at 79 cents. Another one on this inside bar at 88 cents that broke bullish. And I'm bullish on this stock. And as long as we remain over $1, I'm extremely bullish, but we need to see how this daily inside bar breaks. But again, we'll say that we're correlated more to SPY given the fact that USMJ's correlated to SPY. So depending on how SPY opens tomorrow, but keep in mind, BAM does tend to, it's a small cap, it does tend to do its own thing. And I've seen it up on days where SPY is down. So we'll want to see how this inside bar breaks. So if we break above resistance here at 114, we're likely heading to $1.30 resistance. And if we lose 92 cents, then we're likely heading down to at least EMA 26 and 12. So we could expect to drop to around 80 cents. So again, SPY, need to be watching SPY here. And Cura, some of the MSOs, again, just same as MSOS, just daily consolidation, tracking SPY. Same with Truel, held EMA 12. GTII, a little stronger, didn't even quite touch down on its EMA 12. And CL, daily consolidation. So again, on all of these names, we need to change the hourly trend back to an uptrend and break the high of the previous daily candle to be confident that the daily bounce is underway and that these daily higher lows are now set. So that's all we have in terms of US MJ and Canadian MJ. We're going on about 35 minutes here. So again, I lumped everything into one video today, and it looks like we got some chat going on. So we'll wrap things up, but we'll just circle back to the chat here, see what we have going on. Hopefully we will be good for weed stocks for the rest of the week. Yeah, hopefully. Tilray certainly helping. What are your thoughts on REIT AHT? AHT. I don't think I've ever heard of that one. Nope. Assuming it's this Ashford Hospitality Trust. So just tracking SPY, daily consolidation, just week. It's got earnings coming up here on the 24th of February. So I don't know anything about the company, especially fundamentals, but in terms of technicals, looks okay. We're in a daily uptrend here with a low, high, higher, low, higher, high, higher, low at 266. And now we're just anticipating a lower high here compared to 378. Got a mini higher low here. So EMA 12 has been a nice support guide, but earnings definitely going to dictate. So it does seem correlated to SPY. Started its daily consolidation again today as well. So again, just like SPY, needs to change its hourly trend back to an uptrend. You can see here we lost the hourly higher lows. So we lost the hourly uptrend. We found support off EMA 26. And at this point, it looks like it's still a potential hourly bear flag. But we are consolidating on the hourly here. So if we do set this higher low compared to the low here of 337 and break above resistance here at 349, that will confirm an hourly uptrend. And our daily higher lows are likely set at that point. And we need to break the high of today tomorrow, but likely favoring an inside bar setup tomorrow. Obviously, if we gap up or gap down, that could change. But if you are looking at this name, you need to be watching SPY, the S&P 500, because it does seem very correlated. And on the weekly chart, held the EMA 12 there, EMA 26 sitting at 368. So that'll be a resistance to be watching as well. But essentially just sandwiched in that range of EMA 26 and 12 on the weekly. So just determine whether or not you want to hold through earnings. Personally, I don't really hold anything through earnings, but I am holding Hexo and Hive blockchain, and they have earnings coming up. Hexo's earnings aren't until the end of March, but I'm long that stock anyway. I'm holding that for the long term. I'm expecting huge numbers from Hexo and Hive as well. Hive has earnings on March 2nd, which I'll be holding through, but definitely going to be trimming that position, so I'm not swinging my full initial position, but need to determine whether or not you want to hold through earnings, I guess, first and foremost. But overall, looking pretty good. Yeah, you could apply the same logic to AMC. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of uncertainty there, and if you're playing those recovery plays, yeah, I mean, you have to be willing to hold for the long term. AMC has the potential to go bankrupt. So I don't know. Personally, I think there's a lot less riskier plays out there than to be looking at recovery stocks. And I don't know, it just seems like the recovery is a little ways out, that you could be waiting a long time. I don't see an immediate need to rush into either of those. But yeah, just be tracking SPY. You could add a little bit here on the weekly time frame. We were in a weekly downtrend, so we haven't changed the weekly trend yet. This all came off the same move. So low, high, looking to form a higher low compared to $1.27. And now we need to break over 582 to confirm a weekly trend change. So we're a ways away yet. Monthly, still in a downtrend as well. So yeah, I'd like to see at least a weekly trend change. Not 100% confident on that one. I'd likely hold off. We're looking good here though on the weekly. We have 291, the 10-week moving average, the stochastic crossed bullish last week, and the MACD. So we're looking pretty good. Again, it's a little risky. There's some higher lows here on the daily in EMA 12. You could enter with a stop below EMA 12, so that's one way to do it. But again, I'm not rushing into any recovery plays at the moment. Where is the stream? I'm not sure what you mean, strictly sickly. You might need to refresh your page, see if that helps. Josh, when are earnings? We already went over the earnings. Why was APH moved but not Tilray? Yeah, I'm not sure what you mean, Josh. We already went over the earnings, but just to recap, they beat on revenue, came in at 56.6, and we were expecting 55.98, and they only had a loss of 3 million versus 219 million. You can look at that, but revenue increased this year compared to last year. We're up big after hours, and a free is up as well. Sold SNDL, waiting for the dip. Well, we are dipping, so you sold at the right time. Yeah, I'm not sure. Talking to himself. Pretty sure everybody can hear me. If you can just type in the chat room, just type OK, someone, if you can hear me. But it seems like some people aren't able to hear me, so not sure what's going on there. Riot was good at $2. It has run so much in the last couple months, I wouldn't touch it. Yeah, no, not at all. Buy green organic Dutchman. Yeah, T-God, I don't know. Products are quite pricey. They let me down big time. I used to be a fan. Not seeing the demand for it. Products are pricey. They got a lot of work to do, in my opinion. You want to take a look at T-God? Okay, we'll take a look at it. That's USMJ. T-God. So their earnings came out. It was less than awesome. Daily consolidation today. Inside bar broke bearish. We do have support down here at about 30 cents and EMA 26 there as well. So could be a nice entry here. We'll see how SPY opens tomorrow. If we see some weakness there, we could see, but again, Tilray, it may see a bullish reaction to Tilray earnings depending on how we open tomorrow. But like I said, we're support at 30 cents. After that, down at 22 cents. Could be a nice buyout target as well, but I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of T-God. Yeah, so I'm getting lots of OKs, so everybody can hear me okay. So I'm not, if anybody can't hear me, obviously me speaking right now, telling you how to fix it isn't going to help. So hopefully you can figure it out on your own. So T-God, just taking a look at the weekly moving averages and indicators. So we are bearish again on the stochastic MACD. So we did cross, yeah, it could be a nice entry here with a support play. But we are in a weekly uptrend now as well. How are we doing on the monthly? Huge volume. So we have the all-time low at 15 cents, is it? Yeah, and then we had essentially a double bottom. So you had the low, high at 46, essentially double bottom down at 15 cents, and we broke above it and hit 53 cents. So technically changed the monthly trend, but we had EMA 12 there acting as resistance, and we're pulling back. So we can close the month out over that 41 resistance. That would be a bullish indicator as well, but yeah, I'm not the biggest fan, to say the least, on T-God, but it's looking decent. Like I said, you could enter off of this 30-cent support and look to see a daily bounce, but once this daily bounce gets underway, we can expect a fairly significant move up to the highs. It's a 77% move to the recent highs just from a few days ago. lot here. In 20K shares, I bought 250 shares just to gamble. Yeah, I mean, I like the idea. The organic, obviously is a big trend. But again, I've tried the product. Product was garbage. I didn't enjoy it. Didn't taste good. I'm a big fan of enjoying products. Like I do a lot of groundwork, and that's why I like Hexo so much. I love all their products. I use them all the time. They get about 95% of my money. That's why 95% of my money is in Hexo. But again, their products were really expensive. The weed wasn't that great. I don't know. Not really digging it, but there's definitely some trades to be had. Like you can definitely make a good day trade or a swing trade. I'm not going to argue with that. Hold Xena or sell before the sale? Yeah, great question. So I sold Xena. I did a video on that as well. Andrew, you can check out Xena and Hexo, my Hexo video. And essentially I go over why I thought that Xena was, why we had the reaction that we did. So I'll just bring up Xena here. So we knew that Zenabis was in talks. There was an article, I did another video. You can check that one out as well. It was a few weeks ago. But people in our group, we were in on this daily trend change. So as soon as we broke 7.5 cents, we confirmed a daily uptrend. And that's when a lot of people in our group entered just on that daily trend change. And from there, we're up about 200% just from that daily trend change. And I actually entered some at 5 cents and again at 8 cents. So we were up 300, over 300% from those lows. And we knew back here around, the 8 and 9 cents that they were a potential buyout target. So Bloomberg released an article saying they were in talks with a significantly large LP. So because it was a buy the rumor, sell the news, we knew that they were going to be acquired. We just didn't know by who. So the fact that Hexo is acquiring them, that was the surprise, and that's why we saw a big jump in Hexo's share price, and nothing really happened to Zenabis after that announcement. And in fact, we've been pulling back from this from this recent high at 21.5 cents. So I unloaded a lot there, and I was just trading I sold at 100% profit, and then I sold another tranche there, and I rebought some back down here around 15 cents, I think it was. And then I think I sold like just before the news came out about Hexo. I had no idea, just like anybody else. But again, if that news came out and we didn't know that Zenabis was a buyout target, Zenabis would have rocketed, right? But because we had already knew for weeks in advance that they were already going to be a buyout target and we're already in talks with a significant LP, it was a buy the rumor, sell the news. And then the move on Hexo was quite significant, right? So we saw a bigger bounce. A lot of other names didn't really get a big bounce. So Hexo set up well to form a daily high or low here and see potential continuation. So that's why we saw that happen the way it did. Again, if we didn't know Xena was being bought out or any target, if that news and that article was 100% dropped as a bombshell and we knew nothing about Xena, we knew nothing about Hexo as being potential merger partners, then Hexo likely would have remained flat and Zenabis would have saw a huge boost. But because we already knew Zenabis was going to be bought out and we didn't know it was going to be Hexo, Hexo saw the boost. So yeah, generally we see it happen the other way. But to answer your question, I don't know. It's hard. There is a discount rate now. So if you divide the current share price by the ratio of the deal, the 0.172, 0.0172, you can divide the ratio and it's about I think it was like an 8% discount right now versus the current share price of Hexo. And you want to use the Canadian price, not the US price of Hexo, because Zenabis is a Canadian dollar ticker. So personally, I sold my Xena. After we didn't get a reaction, a bull reaction, it was a sell the news. I'm just holding Hexo at this point. So hopefully that helps. I'll go over the rest of these questions here. Sorry for the caps, no worries. Yeah, he was just being an A. Yeah, maybe. US MJ? Great question, Jesse. So I went over this earlier. US MJs is very correlated to SPY at the moment. Obviously, any new news about like legalization or any bills passing through the Senate Safe Banking Act, I think it's time to start shifting focus away from Canadian MJ back to US MJ again, as we could see a potential run up from hype on the Safe Banking Act and uplisting to US major exchanges. It was a joke. Okay, cool. Oh, because I was answering his questions. Makes sense. The Tilray update. Are you screening the call at 5 today? No, I've been on this live stream now for almost an hour. Not going to join the live call today. Got too much on the go, but likely catch the replay. But yeah, Tilray update, up big, almost 20% from the low of the day. They beat on revs and had a very, very small loss, only 3 million compared to like 219 million a year ago. Have you looked into BAT? No, I have not. Do you have a position in FIRE? I don't, but they did have great earnings, I noticed, but they did raise, there was an article coming out about them raising money. So let's bring it up here. 22 million selling units at 31 cents. So there was dilution. And I said yesterday it was likely heading to 30 cents, and today we hit 31 cents. So perfect, played out to perfection. Lower high every candle, so we need to break the previous daily candle high to be confident that the daily bounce is underway. But look for a potential support zone here around 27.5 cents, around EMA 26. And we need to change the hourly trend back to an uptrend, but watch the high of today tomorrow. If we break the high of today's high tomorrow, then the daily bounce will be underway and no real resistance up until 60 cents. So that's why we were down today based on that raise. And oh, looks like we got our first super chatter. Thanks so much. Thanks so much, Andre. So you really see Hexo in top 3, MJ, says Renee. Yep, I definitely do. If you look at the writings on the wall, they just bought Zenabis that increases their production capacity by about 111,000 square feet, and they needed to expand anyway. And it also gives them a member in our group, shout out to QC, SMB. He said that it also is a type of insurance. So if a tornado or something rolled around and destroyed one of their facilities, it's not, they have to rebuild that facility, and they have a bunch of downtime while they're waiting for that to get back on the ground again. So it's also as an insurance play. They're on path to EBITDA positive. There was also a video out from the CEO, Sebastian St. Louis. They posted that in our group, in our community here as well. So you can go check that out. Just scroll down to the bottom here. So it was BNN. So acquiring Zenabis unlocks tons of value to become the long-term world leader. So check out that interview. It was really great. I personally love Sebastian St. Louis as a CEO. He's a fantastic, just leader. He understands the industry extremely well. And better yet, he understands the consumers even better than most consumers understand themselves. So Hexo has been at the forefront of innovation. If you look at Canopy and Aurora, remember when Aurora was buying facility after facility after facility, and we've got 100,000 square feet. We got 250,000 square feet. We got 500,000. We've got 1 billion square feet now. But their products suck and they don't sell. I don't buy any Aurora products. Why are you ramping up to billions of square footage production capacity And Hexo was doing the opposite. Hexo was partnering with Molson Coors. They were under the radar, developing brands and customer experiences and turning the commodity, the plant, into something special. Anybody can grow marijuana and make a business out of it. It's turning it into something special and creating award-winning brands and consumer awareness and repeat buys. And that's what I think Hexo has done. They were the first to bring the value segment. So they were the first to offer a 28 gram ounce for about $140. I got one for $97 the other day at Value Buds in Alberta. $97 I got an ounce for. So, and that's the original stash. So not only are they leading the innovation and at the forefront of the industry, they're destroying the black market. Their number one competitor is the black market, not other LPs. I don't buy any of the other LPs products. There is no competition for Hexo. What I see the Hexo competition as well is the black market. And we're on the path. Molos just dropped to $2.95 in Alberta. So you can buy a 2.5 milligram of Molo for $2.95. That's cheaper than beer. At the liquor store, we're seeing the XMGs were $8.99. They're now $5. So the writing is on the wall. Mark my words. Wait, we have not experienced anything. Just think about this. Hexo had about a 3-year late to the party head start. They were, I think, like the 13th or the 15th licensed producer, awarded licensed producer from Health Canada. Canopy had about a 3 or 4 year head start. And then they also had a 6-month head start on their Cannabis 2.0 beverage rollout, the cannabis-infused beverages. And in just a few short months, Canopy has lost number one market share in the beverage category to Hexo. Hexo's number one in the beverage sales. I heard that they're taking number one spot in Colorado already after just a couple of weeks. They're number one in hash sales, number one in beverage sales. They're going to be top 3 licensed producer in Canada. That is just huge. And like I said, they brought the value. Everybody duplicated. Look at Nova Cannabis. They're rebranding as Value Buds. Who brought the value segment to the industry? Hexo. Hexo is the first. Check out their OS Click, their little dab pen. Super cool product. They're literally innovating. And I'm hearing from little birdie in my ear that they're working on a lot of people are saying if you thought the products we have now are cool, wait till you see what we have coming and wait until you see the earnings. This is going to be the Tesla of cannabis, in my opinion. Obviously, Sebastian St. Louis probably isn't going to be the number one richest person in the world tomorrow. And maybe never. It's not on the same level as the vehicle manufacturing space. And also, Tesla has SpaceX and a ton of other things. So in terms of story, they could see the same percentage moves as Tesla if we're heading to a $300 billion a year industry, and it's a $300 billion industry. I think it'd be a lot bigger than that. All they have to do is capture about 40 billion of that, and their share price would be justifiable to between $200 and $400 a share, given the current share price. And there was an article I had mentioned Tesla reference just in terms of like the story, the EV story compared to. So Tesla is to EV what Hexo is to MJ, and obviously not comparing. They're two very different companies. I was way more bullish on Tesla back in the day than I was Hexo, but now I'm seeing the writings on the wall. It's the same type of situation. Tesla didn't make any money. All the analysts were bearish up until last year. And as soon as they started making money, it's been off to the races, and everybody and their dog can't buy enough. And that's exactly what happened in the summertime. Everybody was saying, don't buy Hexo, don't buy Hexo. But meanwhile, all these press releases, they're buying Hexo. They're just trying to get as much people to sell and knock it down for as long as they can. And then now we're seeing, the Tesla's the Tesla of cannabis. There was an article out yesterday. Just Google that. Tesla, Hexo, the Tesla of cannabis. I mentioned that several times now for several weeks. And just funny that there was an article by a third-party publisher that actually posted what I had said. So clearly not the only one who thinks so. But thank you very much for that donation, Andre. That says Andre on the thank you card, but then it says Renee as your username. So I'm not sure. It must just be Andre Renee. I'm not sure if that's the same person. I apologize if I got your name mixed up, but whoever gave me thank you and a donation, thank you so much. Right back. Hexo up 40 cents after market. Nice. I'm a little lost here in this chat, so bear with me. So have I looked into BAT? No, I haven't. And I can look into them. You can also join us. If you haven't joined us, guys, check out pursuitofwealthgroup.com or palgroup.ca. We have a free trial on right now. It's only $4.99 a month, and that will be going up soon. But you can do the free trial, 7-day, 1-week free trial, no credit card required. And you can come in and we'll, if you have tickers that you want covered during a regular basis, or if you want more, help than just, the little bit that I can provide on YouTube, then check us out for a free trial, see what we're about. But we've got a great group of people and heavily focused on the cannabis space, and crypto is what we specialize in. But we're a community, if you want, to bounce ideas off of. We're a community for new and experienced disciplined investors. There's something for everyone. So if you want to bounce ideas off of, some of the leadership or some other people in the group, or just get a consensus of what everybody thinks, or if you want to bounce an idea off of myself, for example, before you hit the buy or sell button. Again, we're not financial advisors. You're responsible for all the trades you make, but just nice to have somebody to bounce it off to before you hit the buy or sell button. I really like Hexo product as well. Original Stash was the brand of the year, and they also won Best Beverage with the Little Victories. If you haven't tried the Little Victories, they are amazing. If you try the dry grapefruit. So all of their Little Victories are made from de-alkalized wine. And again, they make it into something special. If you try that dry grapefruit and tell me that doesn't taste like champagne, you better get your taste buds checked, because I didn't really know what they were trying to do. And I didn't really like it at first, but after I tried it again, I was like, oh my God, that's champagne. They nailed it perfectly. And they have the Molo for your man cave and the hunk kind of thing. Like, I'm a beer guy, so I love the Molos. I love them all, really. But they're fantastic. Would you buy US MJ? Absolutely. Yeah, I like Cura, CL, BAM, MSOS. It's the ETF that tracks the entire MSO space, essentially. So, but yeah, I've never heard of BAT, but I'll have to look into that there for you, Siler Watch. Andrew, I got in when you spoke about them. I bought 20K at 6. I have a plan, but I do not know when it's going to make it that high. I stayed when SNDL purchased a significant portion of debt in Xena. Yeah, and Andrew, that was like a hostile takeover. SNDL was being a bunch of dirty dogs, and they were trying to basically buy their debt so that they would own the majority of that outstanding debt and just try to take a hostile takeover, essentially. I held long because I was thinking Cresco or Tilray was going to buy them. I am happy with Hexo, though. I am long on them. Yep, absolutely. And there's definitely a discount right now to buy Xena versus just buying Hexo outright. But again, it's not 100% confirmed. So that's the risk right now. I mean, 99.9% chance it's going to go through. But just keep in mind that it's not 100% confirmed. So if you are buying Xena to get the share discount, just be aware that it's not 100% confirmed until all the regulatory steps get approved, that type of thing. How was Tilray earnings report? Sorry, in late, but I saw post-market up about $20 from the low of the day. They beat on revs. They were forecasting just under 56 million US, came in over 56 million US, only a $3 million loss versus it was like a $219 million loss last year. 219, yep. So favorable reaction. Didn't see the EPS numbers. I've been pretty tied up, but just refresh. There we go. EPS, negative 0.02. So, beat on both after missing estimates the last 2 quarters. So we beat on EPS and we beat on revenue, but we're still negative in the EPS, but on their way, EBITDA improving as well. So very, very good sector for the sector, and positive sign that Hexo could very well be next on its way. Very, if not EPS positive, very close to EPS positive, and should be EBITDA positive. And I think their revenue could match that of Tilray's. This is US though. It's going to be close. If we look at Tilray on the, oh yeah, there is no Canadian ticker. Duh. So yeah, 55 million. So if we just take 55 million times that by roughly 1.3, that's 71.5 million Canadian. I think Hexo is going to surprise people. So Tilray made 71 million. And we'll bring up Hexo here, see what it's forecasting. So they're forecasting 32. So yeah, okay. I was going off the 55 million. So it's, yeah, that's over double what estimates are forecasting. I could see us coming in at 40 or 50 million and having a huge beat. So hopefully that's going to set the bar for most of the rest of these Canadian tickers. ZOM. Man, you guys are just pummeling me with the questions here today. Not that that's a bad thing. So ZOM, I'm pretty sure that's the right ticker. ZOM, yep. So bounced off daily EMA 12. Daily consolidation still underway. It was weaker than SPY as it has been consolidating for the last several days, but ultimately followed SPY today. We need to break the high of the previous daily candle to be confident that the daily bounce is underway, and we need to change the hourly trend back to an uptrend, which we got quite a bit of space here to form. So anything over 202 on the hourly is a higher low. We have resistance here at 238. So we'll want to see a higher low. So let's say we pull back to the 220, set that higher low, then we bounce, and then we break above resistance here at 238. That would confirm an hourly uptrend, and our daily temporary bottom is likely set at that point. But nice dip there on the daily. Formed a bit of a hammer there, and nice dip buying there into the end of the day. Really going to depend on SPY. So I'd be watching SPY earnings coming up as well March 3rd. So just be mindful of that. That's going to be a very volatile event. So just be cautious. EMA 12 has been holding since all the way down here at about 15 cents. So could enter with a stop below the low of today. I'm not sure if you're in this ticker or not, but hopefully that helps. We're still in a daily uptrend though. And just scouting daily higher lows. Weekly, we did start consolidating on the weekly, and it's a weekly bull flag at this point. So all about earnings. Keep in mind RSI is very overbought. 70 is considered overbought. We're at 85. So just be cautious. Again, if you want some more detailed analysis, consider checking us out for a 1-week free trial and see what we're all about. And we'll be able to work a little bit more, directly. It's what we do all day, day in, day out. So going to start wrapping up here. OGI, I did cover OGI, essentially the same as the rest. Just tracking the inside bar, I think it was. Inside bar broke bearish. So we consolidated on the daily just like SPY. We have EMA 12 down there around 345, but we could see a bounce up over 5% here on Tilray earnings reaction. So that may be our daily higher low. We'll need to confirm hourly uptrends going into tomorrow and break the high of the day tomorrow. Renee, okay, very good point. Yeah, glad that makes sense. Aurora will sell out to US MJ or partner up due to the boycott. Yeah, I can't stand Aurora. I don't like any of their products. I never liked the company, and they just continue to hurt investor shareholder value. And yeah, I feel bad. I know people that bought that at $15 before the split, before the reverse split. That's true. I only buy OS at SQDC for 115. Yeah, 115 in Alberta, and you guys are the preferred supplier for Quebec. And in Alberta now, we have retail locations that are now taking Hexo's value that they brought to the market, so that value brand and that cheap weed. Now there's stores that are rebranding, like Nova Cannabis is rebranding 80% of their stores as Value Buds. So I don't know who's running these stores, or anyway, they need to get me on or somebody who understands the industry, or somebody who, consumes the product. I don't know what they were thinking selling, like T-God selling an eighth for $40. Like who thought that was a good idea? I could have told them that was going to be a disaster right out of the get-go. But anyway, you have 115 in SQDC and it's 97. That's with tax. $97 with tax. It's insane. And it's pretty good stuff. It's like 16%. You can get their Up Cannabis brand as well, which is all 20% and above. Never have to worry about buying anything under 20%. Again, everything that they have in the Up Cannabis is above 20%. So again, they understand the consumer. Keep up the work. Absolutely. Thanks, Andrew. Hi, just got here. Should I keep Tilray or sell? Well, I can't offer buy or sell recommendations. If it were me, it depends where you bought in. I'd probably hold it, though. It looks like the sector could bounce tomorrow. SPY might bounce as well. But just watch SPY, the S&P 500, and consider checking out pursuitofwealthgroup.com and join us for a 1-week free trial. You can tell us a little bit more about your trade, where you got in at. It's hard for me to give, some input on what I would do if I don't really know that. So I'm going to start wrapping up. Hold, sell, hold ALI, sell ALI. I love it. Tomorrow, we could be heading to $40 on Tilray, as long as SPY cooperates. Well, thanks. I guess I'll get more Hexo. Yeah, well, pull back in the last couple of days. We were over $11, and personally, I added. So I think that's a great idea. Can you talk about Tilray? Yeah, we've been talking about them. You might just have to refresh that, Ali. We talked about it at the very beginning of the video, but their EPS just came in. And that's not it. So anyway, they beat on EPS. They beat on revenue. EPS negative 0.02, and they were expecting negative 0.14. So 0.02, and they're expecting 0.141. So they came in negative 0.2, beat there, and revenue beat by a little tiny bit. But their loss was only $3 million versus $219 million a year ago, and improvement on EBITDA. So we're seeing overall investor sentiment pick up there and positive reaction. Currently at 34 after hours, still consolidating. So we'll see if we can hold those gains into tomorrow during regular trading hours. Tilray coming down, yep. Yeah, I wouldn't really take. I'd take it with a grain of salt. See how we open in the pre-market tomorrow. All right, guys, I think I'm gonna end it there. So I'll just do one last scan here. Quebec takes its cut. Yep. Quebec loves their taxes. With tax, it's 125 there. Yeah, 97 with tax. Talk about a game changer. Oh yeah, they're going to destroy. They're going to absolutely destroy. And keep in mind, Nova Cannabis, Renee, they don't even sell Canopy products anymore. Canopy Growth, because Canopy Growth was setting up a bunch of Tokyo smoke stores next to Nova Cannabis. And Alcanna, the parent company that owns Nova Cannabis, they also own a wine company and they own Liquor Depot. They didn't take too kindly to that. So what they did was they boycotted all of Canopy's products and they're not selling anything. So now essentially the only thing in their fridge right now is Hexo beverages. They've got a few other like the Summit, Valens, and things like that, but they all suck in my opinion. I don't. The only beverages I buy are the odd Canopy one, but very seldomly. And the only beverages I buy are Hexo, and the only flour I buy is Hexo. Only vapes I buy, like everything Hexo. Never had a bad experience. You can get vape cartridge for super cheap as well. It's just they've always been my favorite in terms of products. And to be honest, I wasn't even a shareholder. So this is how unbiased I was. I wasn't even a shareholder when I first started to try their products. And I always hated Hexo for some reason, just because, the CEO sold some shares during the peak and that hurt investor sentiment. And then there was a few other things that happened. They just kept diluting and raising shares. But there was obviously a plan that they had in place, and they managed to budget that money very, very, very well. And like I said, I didn't even have any money invested in Hexo in the summertime. And then I started trying Hexo's products in August, and then I saw their drinks were coming out, and that's when I started to load up. And when I actually tried their drinks, they blew me away. And I now own about 90% of my Canadian MJ is in Hexo. Absolutely. Well, looks like we're pretty much done, so I'm going to run off before we get another 100 questions. Just joking. No, I've got to jump off here now, guys. So it's been a slice. Thanks for joining us on the Pursuit of Wealth for a daily market recap and some coverage on Tilray. If you are joining late, make sure to just fast forward to the beginning of the stream, and everything that you need will be there. So we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks again for joining us. Have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow after market close for another daily market